Governor Eric Holcomb says he has no plans for another mask mandate, even as Indiana's COVID numbers continue to surge. We'll hear from the governor next, plus Representatives Andre Carson and Victoria Spartz, and Senator Mike Braun and former Senator Joe Donnelly on the infrastructure bill in D.C. Then we're one-on-one with Mayor Joe Hogsett on the funding he hopes will help fight violent crime in Indianapolis. It's all ahead this Sunday in Focus. Good morning. The numbers here in Indiana keep climbing, and the news isn't good. Cases on the rise, averaging more than 2,000, up to 3,000 cases a day. Hospitalizations also sharply on the rise because of this more transmissible Delta variant. Despite that, Governor Holcomb says he has no plans to reinstate a mask mandate in Indiana. State House reporter Kristen Eskow asked him about it on Wednesday.
We're not going to have a mask mandate statewide.
Today, Governor Eric Holcomb made it clear his focus remains on making sure Hoosiers have access to the COVID-19 vaccine and the correct data on the virus and vaccinations.
The goal that the state of Indiana has is to make sure they have that access. It's easy, it's free, that they have access to the data that should direct them on how to be safe.
The governor says local communities are welcome to impose their own safety guidelines.
We're not going to mandate people staying inside. We're not going to mandate everyone doing one thing when this is different per community.
Right now, every county in Indiana falls under the CDC's recommendation that everyone wear a mask in indoor public places. That's regardless of vaccination status. Even without a mask mandate in effect, doctors are still urging everyone to follow that guidance.
It's fairly clear that masks can still stop it, but if you're not masked, there's a really good chance you could catch it even through momentary contact. And there is some evidence that even people who are vaccinated can pass the virus along.
All right, Kristen joins us now in the newsroom. You also spoke this week with two members of Indiana's congressional delegation about the fight against COVID-19. What are they saying?
Yeah, Dan, I spoke with Congressman Andre Carson and Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, who both tell me they want to see the FDA issue full approval for the COVID vaccines.
More elected officials are joining Governor Eric Holcomb's call on the FDA to grant the COVID-19 vaccines full authorization.
I think he, like myself, we share an interest in making sure Hoosiers are safe and Americans are safe as well.
Congressman Andre Carson says whether it's about vaccines or masks, he believes combating misinformation is critical in the fight against COVID.
Now with the Delta variant, I think all hands need to be on deck. I think we need to push away from the misinformation that's out there that trivializes the expertise of healthcare professionals.
One of the least vaccinated groups in Indiana is kids between the ages of 12 and 17. Congresswoman Victoria Spartz tells me she believes full FDA approval of the vaccines would give parents more confidence about getting their children vaccinated.
I think regular approval will help much more parents to make that decision and decide to do that.
Congresswoman Spartz also believes it's about making sure Hoosiers have accurate information, saying transparency in the FDA's approval process will be key to getting more people vaccinated.
I think that is the parents' choice we should provide to people, but I think we have to provide a transparent information that parents can make this decision, so then more parents will feel more comfortable.
I also asked both Carson and Spartz about the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Both say they want to see some changes made.
What we want to do in the House is make sure that we're holding our colleagues accountable and making sure that the bill is far-reaching. So we want to deal with climate change. We want to deal with issues that will reduce our emissions, and I don't think that the Senate's proposal goes far enough, but it's a step in the right direction.
I want to be open-minded because it's important to have good infrastructure and investment in infrastructure. So hopefully the bill can be trimmed down and make something where Republicans can support. Unfortunately, in the current shape, it's not something that we can afford to do.
And meantime, at an event on Friday, Senator Todd Young spoke about his vote against the bipartisan infrastructure bill, a bill he initially voted for procedurally. Here's what he had to say about that.
You look at the broader bill, which I and a bunch of others voted to advance so that I'd have a seat at the table. The promise is supposed to pay for itself without increase in taxes, and we were close to doing that. But they moved away from that stated goal, and it doesn't come close to paying for itself now. And I've just, you had these other provisions put in place. And you had Speaker Pelosi tie it to a $3.5 trillion bill.
Now, Young was not available for interviews on Friday. Dan, back to you.
Okay, Kristen Eskow in the newsroom for us. Kristen, thanks. Meantime, this week, our Washington bureau spoke with Indiana Senator Mike Braun about the big vote this past week on the infrastructure bill.
I think we got outmaneuvered politically, too, because Chuck Schumer, the president, and especially Nancy Pelosi, I think she runs the show on the other side, said these bills are linked. In other words, you're going to get what we all know we need to get done, solid, tangible infrastructure, but she's not going to hear either one unless they come over together. Something this big, when it doesn't go through committee or regular order, to where you bring in people across the country about infrastructure that, you know, have a stake in it. We didn't do that anymore. We get these gigantic bills dropped in our lap. This one was 2,700 pages. There's no way, even if you have your whole staff pour over it, that you're going to find the comfort you'd like. So the process is broken. I think infrastructure, maybe next to defense, are the two things we ought to do well here. I ran because I come from running a business 37 years. I was on a school board that we had to do a budget, had a rainy day fund. Same thing when I was a state legislator. None of that plays here. So the process is broken, and we've been doing it for decades. And if that underlies anything here, even when I like the policy, which is that we need infrastructure, we just can't do it within a broken system. We keep doing it. We're just saying, hey, we'll fix it maybe down the road.
Senator Mike Braun there with our Washington bureau. Also this week, I spoke about the infrastructure bill with the man Braun defeated in 2018, former Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly.
What this bill is going to mean is much, much better broadband infrastructure throughout the state, better Wi-Fi coverage, so that especially in our rural areas that have struggled, you will be able to see many of those areas get much, much better broadband coverage. For our roads, there's very, very significant funding roads-wise so that we can have a smoother ride in some of the bumpier places around the state. And across the board, what it'll help also is our ports on the Ohio River. So it's almost tailor-made for Indiana because we're such a microcosm of America with airports and marine ports and broadband needs. And so I think this will be very, very helpful.
What about our current two members of the U.S. Senate, Senator Young, Senator Braun, voting against it? What's your reaction to their vote on this bill?
Well, I think we saw 19 Republican senators vote for it, including Senator McConnell, the leader. And so it's received very, very significant bipartisan support. And on top of the bipartisan support, most all of it is paid for. The Congressional Budget Office said some of it isn't. But I think even the Republican senators feel that actually at the end of the day, every dime of it will be paid for.
You did have some Republicans say they're opposed to this bipartisan package because of the much larger bill that's being put through afterwards here through the reconciliation process. Now, Senator Manchin also expressing some reservations as well. Are you concerned about the cost of that larger spending package? Is it something that you would support if you were serving in the Senate now?
I think what you'll see is that the cost of that is going to come down. They're talking about $3.5 trillion, which is a huge amount. And you've already seen Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema say, look, we're not in for that number. And so I think the idea will be to go to a lower number that, again, every dime of it is paid for so it doesn't add to the debt. And that's a more responsible way to handle it, I think.